This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome, everyone, to the GSMC Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeff Malinoff, and with me is Mark Souza. We got a lot to talk about today in the day of sports, just like we always do. We got an important news update on Josh Gordan and what he has been going through and where he is going, as well as an NBA roundup and some other news tips and little clips about the other world news and sports, and even Nathan Peterman is one of our news topics, so that's going to be very interesting. But first, let's talk about Josh Gordan. This morning, he has said he has left the team, the New England Patriots, that is, and he might be facing a suspension. It's unknown what that suspension will cause. Some speculate it's marijuana. It's most likely, some people say. But the fact is, yes, he has left the team indefinitely. He says he wants to work on his mental health, and he's going to work on that. But I think he's never going to play football again. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. He put out a statement on Twitter this morning saying that he was walking away to deal with, his demons, I guess you could say. Deal with, he's struggling with. He
quoted and said mental health, so we'll just say mental health.
Yeah, so said he's going to walk away and deal with the stuff that he's been dealing with for a long time. So, but then shortly after, it was reported that he has failed, or he has violated the substance abuse policy, I guess.
Well, the term they use is they violated his reinstatement,
right? Schefter
I assume is what he was suspended for. So it only makes sense like that.
Mm-hmm. That was reported by Adam Schefter and others in the NFL media. So I guess we'll figure it out here in the coming days. But what it looks like to me is that he's going to be suspended indefinitely because the violation of that will cause that trigger to be a indefinite suspension. So he will not be playing football for the rest of the season. He probably will not be playing football again in the NFL.
A lot of people speculate that is done for him. So, yeah, I agree with that statement as well because of the fact that how many times has he done this already? He's done this before where he's left football for a long period of time and been suspended for a long period of time. And you can only get so many chances.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's how the rules are set up, right, in the NFL. I mean, he has
3 strikes, you're out type of thing.
He has been suspended indefinitely before. He's been suspended multiple times.
He's been suspended for a whole year.
I think this is his 4th time now that he's going to be suspended.
I never heard of someone being suspended for the 4th time in, 5 years?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a precedent for that, so I'm assuming
it's unprecedented, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm assuming that even if he... I don't know. Like, it's hard to say without knowing if he actually failed a drug test. But if he can clean up or anything like that, I don't know what the steps the NFL are going to make him take to actually come back because I don't even know if they know. I don't even think it's written, to be honest.
It might lead to like a lifetime ban. Honestly, like I wouldn't be surprised if they lead it to that.
That's what he has right now, right? Like until otherwise, like he's got. He's gonna have a suspension with no time on it, with no timetable. Like I don't know at this point what he'd have to do.
No team is gonna pick him up. I doubt that's gonna happen. It's just he's in a rock and a hard place at the moment when it comes to playing again in the NFL. Maybe if he ever wants to play football again, the CFL or the Alliance of American Football or even the XFL that's coming in 2020. But NFL, I say no.
Yeah, I can't see him ever
And
playing
obviously, we don't know the whole story about his, quote, mental health, like he stated in his tweet. But obviously, there's something there something's wrong. And always with mental health, it's a scary thing to think about because of the NFL and mental health don't really have the best relationship, I guess you can say. Just concussions and the list of suicides and murders that have happened due to concussion syndromes. Like I can think of Junior Seau, for example, and him shooting himself in the chest saying, "Look at my brain." He knew something was wrong with himself. And this has just been ever since then, everyone's kind of been even more worried about concussions than they used to.
I would agree with that.
And when someone just worries about their mental health, you always wish them the best, and we obviously wish Josh Gordon the best, and we hope it doesn't. We hope to God it doesn't come to that. But when it comes to the NFL, well, there's a lot of aspects of concussions, and maybe that's one of the reasons he's leaving. Maybe that's one of the reasons.
Yeah,
mental health.
I mean, it might be, but I don't know. Like, does he have a history of suffering?
Well, you really don't need a history of it. It can be those small little ones that really play a factor.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems like his problem started when he was in college. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's probably like some growing up and like what happened and like something traumatic might have happened. I'm not sure, but obviously he what he said about when he smokes marijuana, and I think you were telling me this. You heard he like smoked. He did a bong hit and then.
He talked about it. Yeah,
you told me. You told me this, but and then he took some shots before a game.
He profiled before in his interview before the season. I can't remember who it was with, but he talked about like all the crazy stuff that he has done in his career. I mean, him and Brown's teammates were, I don't know if it was him and a couple other teammates, but taking a shot and like, taking a bong rip 90 minutes before the game, something like that.
Like mixing weed with alcohol before a football game, that's a serious issue in my opinion. I think there's something wrong and where you need to do that or want to do that. And obviously there's possible addiction involved right now for him. So we just wish him the best. It's a very touchy subject, but this happens to a lot of players where they have all this potential. Like Josh Gordon is extremely talented, no question about it, but he has this problem in where he can't control himself.
Yep. We really don't know why, and all we know is that the Patriots are losing a talented player. What they got, Josh Gordon this year, they received 40 receptions from him, 720 yards and 3 touchdowns in terms of his on-field production. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to have to navigate the rest of the season without him. And is he their best player? No. Was he a dynamic player that made them better? Absolutely. So where do the Patriots go from here?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Well, they are still probably going to win their division. I mean, it's not, they haven't officially done it yet, but they have a 99% probability. And, like, they're still...
they're in the playoffs.
The thing is, well, I meant just winning. They'll be in the playoffs regardless. I'm saying winning the division is 99% probability. And basically, what I'm worried about is... I'm not really worried, but I think some people have underestimated how good this team is because it feels like it's not the same Patriots team, which I agree with. But again, it's still the Patriots. It's still Bill Belichick. It's still Tom Brady. Regardless of who's on that team, there's going to be a threat there for other teams in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think that regardless if Josh Gordon's on the team or not, this team's going to be fine. This team's going to prosper, obviously. And... there's really I don't think there's any cause for concern for Patriots fans in this matter. Do you think there's a cause for concern?
I mean, I didn't think the Patriots were a favorite going into it, so they're losing one of their more dynamic players, and I think that like a guy like Gronk, he's been on the decline all season. Him and Brady have not had that connection like they've had before, whether it's Brady, whether it's Gronk, it doesn't matter. He hasn't been the dynamic weapon. So the Patriots have had to kind of go about their business a little bit differently, and a guy like Gordon really helped. Sony Michel's been a big help, but man, you look at the team and you say, okay, we have Edelman, We have Gronk. We have Sony Michel. We have James White, Rex Burkhead, and Chris Hogan now. Chris Hogan will have to step up again. We know that he has played well with Brady in the past, and he's been a little bit of an afterthought this year with Josh Gordon. Hogan's coming off a big game. So,
is it just me, or when you say the name Hogan, like regardless if it's Chris Hogan, you think Hulk Hogan?
That's just you.
That's just me. Every time you hear the word Hogan, it's not Hulk Hogan. You don't think Chris Hogan should have a handlebar mustache and come out to Real American?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think of Hulk Hogan sometimes when
I
hear
want
that
Chris
name, I guess.
Hogan to wear a Hulk Hogan mustache. I want him to grow out a Hulk Hogan type mustache for the playoffs. I think they might. I'll pick them to win the Super Bowl if he does that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yes,
You would, huh?
Absolutely, without question. Because they have playoff beards. That's a playoff mustache that turns into kind of a beard, so I'll take it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying there. All right, so they traded to the Browns a 5th round pick for Gordan. Do you think it was worth it in the end, or do you think that the Patriots are regretting that decision?
I don't think they lost anything crucial. So it was obviously a test run, and he played relatively decent. Like, he helped them out, of course, but overall, it was a what's the word? It was a test that failed. It was an experiment that didn't go to its full potential.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best I can describe it as. This experiment did not go to its full potential.
It is sad. I mean, I do think I'm with you. Like, I do think it was a valuable trade. Like, I think that they would still do that trade again if offered.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it had so much more potential to be a steal, right? Like, it had. Some people thought, even myself, like, man, Josh Gordon, he still has a chance to come back. I mean, yeah, he's missed a lot of time.
We knew, like, when he was going to the Patriots, that's a lot of guys' second chance, and they always, sometimes they revitalize their career going to the Patriots. We've seen this happen time and time again, and we thought this could be another chance for that to happen, and it was just one of those times it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, it was working at first, honestly, it was, and it just fizzled out. That's just the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about, I guess let's just wrap this up with, do you consider the Patriots' chances a lot less after this, or do you?
No, I still see them as a favorite in the AFC.
As the favorite?
No, as one of the favorites.
Like, which one? I mean, if you got 6 playoff teams.
I would say number 2.
Behind?
The Chiefs still.
In front of the Chargers.
You know what? You're right. Chargers, Patriots, then Chiefs.
In front of the Steelers, in front of the Texans?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still the Patriots. Like, this team is so experienced in the playoffs that people really forget that experience in the playoffs is one of the key concepts.
Oh, yeah. I agree. They have the experience. They have the history. They figure it out. But, man, they do look really vulnerable this year.
Oh, they look more vulnerable than they ever have, but I still think they're a dangerous team.
I think I'd put Houston above the Patriots, honestly.
I can see that, but I can't take away the experience factor.
I might even put the Steelers. I don't see it.
I don't put the Steelers ahead of them, no.
Even though they just beat them?
Yeah, I don't. I still don't. One game doesn't define how they've been playing all season.
That's true, but, I mean, both teams have been underwhelming, right?
Yeah, of course. But I'm still not putting the Patriots under the Steelers. I'll never do that.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are a bad matchup for the Patriots, but I can understand why you'd feel confident in the Patriots in that matchup.
Because every time they face each other, I know it's 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, it's been the Patriots' home field advantage, but they always just somehow are better than the Steelers when it comes down to when it matters.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about the Panthers for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton's been shut down. He will not play the rest of the season.
Which was expected by a lot of people before that was the announcement.
Yeah, and we had speculated that he was hurt for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised again if if we see him have some sort of shoulder or arm surgery. Don't really know what his injury is, but he hasn't really practiced a lot this year. Like, he's been hurt all season. So they will turn to undrafted free agent Taylor Heineke, who has 3 years in the NFL. He has played for multiple teams. He's played for Minnesota. He's played for New England, basically on the practice squad for all these teams. Mm-hmm. But as the backup to Cam Newton, undrafted player from Old Dominion University. What are you expecting from Taylor Heineke? Not Heineken. Heineke.
You might need some Heineken to watch him play.
What are we expecting? Are we expecting
nothing? There's no expectations. It's don't throw 7 picks in the first half. Don't Nathan Peterman this.
He might, or maybe he'll be a revelation. Who knows?
Can you imagine if he throws like 550 yards and 6 touchdowns or something ridiculous?
I mean,
I know
we've seen it happen before, where a guy comes in and he does really well out of nowhere.
It's
right?
not like I know Kirk Cousins did that, and like remember
what about Matt Flynn?
Packers, they played one of the worst teams in the league that game.
But he still threw like 6 touchdowns, like 500 yards. Like it was a video game
and he
number.
got a contract with I think it was the Seahawks, then didn't play a game because Russell Wilson.
And then Matt Flynn went to the Raiders.
You think Matt Flynn hates Russell Wilson?
No, he still got paid, and he got to play. He got to start for the Raiders.
That's a fate you don't want, though.
But I mean, he still had a chance. Like, he got beat by Wilson for sure, but at least he still had a chance.
Okay, let me ask you this. If Matt Flynn was that quarterback, do you think they go to the Super Bowl like they had? Or do you think it just... No. Do you think that there was a team around him that really helped? Or do you think it was...
If you think you're asking me if I think Matt Flynn would take the Seahawks to the Super Bowl?
If they had the same team Russell Wilson did.
No.
No?
Not even close.
Okay. I'm just curious what you thought maybe the team around him was just that good. That's the only question I was asking.
Yeah. Not even close, in my opinion. Just because...
I guess we'll never know.
Even though Wilson was younger in his career, he could still make some crazy plays.
Did he retire or just get released and just didn't bother to go anywhere else?
I don't know where he went after the Raiders.
You know, I got to look him up. Where is he now?
He probably went back to Green Bay. I feel like that's what happens with quarterbacks.
He's 33 and he's out of the league, which is pretty young for a quarterback, all things considered. His last season was in 2015 with New Orleans.
That makes sense.
He did go back to Green Bay in 2013 and 2014.
Do you think the Packers should shut down Aaron Rodgers? There's been some talk about it, but it sounds like he's going to play.
Hold on. You want to hear Matt Flynn's net worth as of 2018? It's still $10 million. He hasn't played in 3 years.
I feel like that's super low for what he signed for. Didn't he sign? He signed for like a huge contract, right?
I don't think he got all of it, though.
Yeah, but he had to have gotten a lot.
I'll look up what the contract was. It was $20 million.
$20 million for how many years?
3 years.
3 years, $20 million.
But it was $9 million guaranteed. He didn't get the whole contract, so he probably got a good like $15 million.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So $10 million in 3 years. Like spending $5 million in 3 years. That's not that bad if you have the money to do it. Just now you have to be very cautious.
Do you think the Packers should shut down Aaron Rodgers? Now that we're on this conversation of
Packers,
players getting shut down and Packers, yes.
I would say yeah. Like, why you're out of the playoffs? There's no chance of doing anything. Why not just send him out? Be cautious about his health still. Because what if he gets injured in one of these pointless games? Then that head coach is losing his job immediately. Like, he's not, okay, maybe we'll consider bringing him back and see how he does. No, he's not getting another opportunity.
Well, Joe Philbin is the interim coach, right, for the Packers. So I think I think his mentality is, if I do well, maybe they'll keep me. Which there is. But
you also have to play it smart, so they'll think, okay, he's not crazy.
Yeah, maybe so. I guess it comes down to the player, because if he says he's going to play, you might as well. What are they going to do? Sit him down? They could, but Aaron Rodgers, I think, is kind of the biggest voice in that room at this moment in time. But speaking of voices, sometimes we need to listen. And how can we listen? We can do that with Audible. What is Audible? Audible is where you go to listen to audiobooks. Audiobooks inspire us, motivate us, and bring us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. Get your first audiobook free along with 2 selected Audible original titles and exclusive fitness programs when you start a 30-day trial. So take the time to listen on Audible. Visit audible.com/GSMCbook or text GSMCbook to 500-500 to get started today. Again, for the fans of this show, go to audible.com/GSMCbook or text GSMCbook to 500-500.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by
Welcome back, all you sports fans, to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We finished talking about Josh Gordan and his unfortunate absence from the NFL, probably permanently. Now we're moving on to the NBA, and there were some interesting games that happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
For example, we had the Grizzlies and Trailblazers, two teams that were at one point on top of the Western Conference, facing off, and the Trailblazers come off with the victory, 99-92, and now the Grizzlies drop to 16-15. Is that a concern for the Grizzlies? Is that fad over now, or?
I mean, I don't know. It depends what you think of how they're going to do.
The Trailblazers have won 3 straight. They're trying to get back up into the rankings of the conference, but the Grizzlies have dropped like a sack of potatoes. French fry potatoes. I don't know why I said that, but yeah. And Damian Lillard, again, had a pretty good game. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Really, right after the comments of him maybe time to trade him, he's played extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was a wake-up call?
I don't know about that. I wouldn't say that.
No? Do you think he wasn't going like, okay, I see what you're getting
Damian Lillard?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he plays like that. I don't think he needs extra motivation.
All right. Well, speaking of, maybe not motivation. I try to come up with a good segue. Segues are weird. Anyways, Utah and Golden State. Utah wins 108-103.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 guys in this game that had 30 points or more, and neither of them were on the Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
It was Stephen Curry with 32 and Kevin Durant with 30, and they still couldn't get the job done as the Jazz pulled this off. Donovan Mitchell only had 17 points, but he had
a terrible game.
5 rebounds, 6 assists, went 5 of 26, 2 for 11 from the 3, but his team still manages to get the W because everyone else played well.
Mm-hmm.
Ingles had 20 points, and Rubio even had 10 assists. Like, he had 3 points, 5 assists.
It was a terrible
rebounds.
shooting game for everybody.
Yeah. Ricky Rubio went 0-8 from the field, but he still had 10 assists. So, for a point guard, I'd rather have him had 10 assists than 10 points and 3 assists.
Yeah.
So, he was a big benefactor.
But he got destroyed by Curry.
Well, we kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, we did. But
he's a pass-first point guard anyways.
It is funny to me, though, that they won this game with Mitchell playing one of the worst games that I've ever seen him play.
But it's, yeah. And, I don't know, just the Jazz.
5 of 26.
Yeah. Jazz come out with the W on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Big
sure
win.
I'm not sure what this means for the Warriors. I'm sure it means nothing.
I think it means absolutely nothing. I also think that the Warriors having a 4-game losing streak earlier this year means absolutely nothing, too, right?
We know they're going to win the championship again, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
You just got to face it, you know?
The Nets extend their winning streak to 7 wins, 96-93 over the Chicago Bulls. And I got to ask, Why is Dinwiddie on the bench?
Dinwiddie,
sorry. I keep saying Whittle by accident. With 27 points, he's had some pretty good games. Why is he still coming off the bench?
Maybe he's better off the bench.
Maybe. And, with this 7-game winning streak, they're still only 15 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
So do the math.
What math am I doing?
15 minus 7.
That's 8.
They were 8 and 18.
So they're resurging. They're right there too. They could jump right into the playoffs with a couple more wins. They could jump to the 6th seed, no problem.
But if all the teams you expect to have a 7-game winning streak, which is a lot, this is not the team I would expect, to be honest.
And they lost LeVert for the season too. If they had him, they'd probably be doing even better.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to hear about a destruction happening, a destroying of a team?
I would like to hear it.
Spurs destroyed the Orlando Magic 129-90.
The Spurs have been hot. They've been on fire.
That is one of the most lopsided scores you will see.
They have won 7 of their last 10, San Antonio. Now, if the playoffs started today, they would be in the 8th seed.
Good for them. And speaking of other teams that are in the playoffs, we had a maybe even a potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup between the Pacers and the Raptors, as the Raptors barely hold on 99-96.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Oladipo had 20 points, still very well. Miles Turner had a double-double himself. But Kawhi Leonard, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, making a big statement for him, maybe an MVP-like year for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there.
Kawhi?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably the front runner right now, him or Giannis.
Him and Giannis, I would say, are the two.
Right now, they're probably the front
He also
runners.
had 4 steals this game, so
the
obviously...
biggest thing, though, is look at that fourth quarter. The Raptors came roaring back. They erased a
24-11, yes.
They erased a 17-point deficit to win this game. And
it was led by Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors can beat the Warriors if they make it to the finals?
I think they're the team that has the best chance.
You do?
Of any team, Western or Eastern.
Would you say the Bucks?
No, I'd say Toronto has a better chance than the Bucks.
Would you say the Bucks have a good chance, though, or no?
I don't think so against the Warriors, no, okay. Because I think Giannis would be neutralized in that game. I think it would be a bad matchup for him because he can't shoot very well.
Mm-hmm.
And against the Warriors, you need somebody, whoever's guarding Durant. Yeah, Giannis could score against Durant, but you're going to have to match him. And KD, he's good for 35 or so a night in the playoffs. So
it was just, I understand what you're saying. I was just wondering what you put your input on that. But speaking of the Bucks, they won 123-115 against the New Orleans Pelicans. It was AD versus the Greek Freak as Giannis had 25 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, almost a triple-double for him, which is pretty good for a center, all things considered. And then you had Anthony Davis, 27 points, 11 rebounds. And Giannis was trying to recruit AD to the Bucks because AD is the hottest free agent going into next season.
Well, AD's not a free agent this year.
Not this year.
The year after.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
He's got a year and a half left.
He's going to be the hottest free agent when he's a free agent.
Yeah, most likely. Mm-hmm. I would
because
agree with that.
Everyone's recruiting him. And there's also talk of a trade happening, which...
Anthony Davis is going to play for the Lakers on his next team. I think we should just get over it.
It's just calling it right now.
Yeah, I would
Anthony Davis signs with the Sacramento Kings.
I should bet everything that I own on this. He's going to sign, or I don't even think he's going to sign. The Lakers.
What about the Clippers? No? Do you think the Clippers have an opportunity?
No. Anthony Davis fired his agent and hired LeBron's agent. He owns a house in L.A. They want to play with each other. Everyone knows this.
It sounded like he didn't really care. Because he was quoted in saying, LeBron said he really wants to play with you.
They can't say stuff. They'll get fined.
It's fine to say what? They want to play with each other?
Anthony Davis cannot say that he wants to go play for another team. He can't.
He could say he would like to play with LeBron. He doesn't have to say the team name. Doesn't mean anything.
You're walking a very fine line when you say that.
Yeah, true. But...
I don't know exactly the wording in the NBA rules, but I'm pretty sure if he said he wants to go play with another player, that could possibly be a violation.
Didn't LeBron say the same thing?
Maybe he did.
He said he would love to play with Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's just he wants him to come to L.A. rather than him going to New Orleans.
However, I really don't think that we should take anything that they say after a game or in the media to heart, rather than they're going to play with each other.
We need proof of what's happening.
The Lakers will get Anthony Davis at some point, whether that's signing him, but most likely trading for him.
An hour ago, there are reports, thanks to Bleacher Report, that by, I can't pronounce his name, Mike Chiari? Chiari? C-H-I-A-R-I. Chiari?
Chiari? Who's that?
He's just a guy that was, this is the report from him. And the NBA rumors, they are, quote, worried Anthony Davis rejects long-term contracts.
Yeah, he's going to reject that long-term contract.
I think we all knew that. That's why I was saying that was a kind of a pointless report.
And then he's going to get a max deal with the Lakers, and then he'll be the guy that plays with LeBron.
Well, hold on. Would he get the Supermax?
No. He only can get the Supermax from the Pelicans.
No, that's what I meant. Like, if
traded.
the long-term contract from the Pelicans, will it be a Supermax? Most likely, yes, correct?
The Pelicans will offer Anthony Davis probably the ownership stake in the team if they really could. Yeah, they'll offer him the Supermax for sure, but
maybe there'll be a Super Duper Max where you can get $500 million.
He'll turn down the Supermax, and then he'll go to LA and he'll make up all the money that he lost in endorsements, in movie deals, TV shows, whatever. And then he'll play with LeBron for about 2 years.
Do we want to see that unibrow on big screens?
It's a brand now. It's like Michael Strahan's gap tooth.
It's like a weird brand, though.
Yep, but now it's a brand, right? Like now it's like Michael Strahan and his teeth, man. Like all of a sudden he went into TV and everybody's like, you got to fix your mouth. And now everybody knows him as that face. Everybody knows him as that look.
That look bothers me, to be honest.
Who, Strahan's or Anthony Davis?
God, if you combine those two, that's horrifying. I can't not look at his unibrow. It's just like...
I think it's perfect because for me, his eyebrow looks like a bird, and he's on the Pelicans. He's on the Pelicans.
Okay, so if he goes to the Lakers, his eyebrows...
He's like the King Pelican, you know?
So he's going to leave... So, wait, King Pelican.
Yeah, King James.
The Pelicans and Kings are merging teams, officially.
That'd be nice.
That'd be weird. You imagine two teams merging?
That'd be a really good team.
What would you call them? The Kings and Pelicans? Would you actually just combine their names?
The Kings?
The Cans.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe one day we'll see two teams merge. Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably not.
So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident that Davis will end up on the Lakers, but the only question is when, and I think the Lakers don't want to trade for him, but I think they'll have to because they don't want to waste LeBron another year without him when LeBron.
Well, speaking of like stars, there was like, and we were talking about players with soft skin. I forgot to mention this during the Jazz and Warriors. After a free throw, Durant called a fan the B word. I don't think I can say it on
Durant
there.
did?
Yeah. Well, after he shot because he was trying to distract him, and he called him that. I think he's still my candidate for the most softest, or not softest skin, the most thin skin player in the NBA.
Skin,
well, thinnest, the player with the most thin skin award goes to Kevin Durant. Has to be, right? That or even Russell Westbrook.
And then we saw Blake Griffin get into it with a fan yesterday.
That was. He's usually pretty calm about stuff, all things considered. He's not that kind of guy. You don't expect him to go off on somebody.
Yeah,
that guy must have said something.
I think the NBA needs to do something, man. Like they need to either find these guys like a ton of money or something, but we can't be having every night like a player and a fan get into an interaction. At some point, a player will fight a fan. Like at some point, it will happen. And I'm not saying that it should happen, and I don't want to see it happen. But if every night we're seeing fans and players talking trash to each other, it's going to blow over at some point.
Yeah, speaking of the Blake Griffin thing, Zaza was the
Pachulia?
Yeah. He was the one that stopped Blake Griffin from going after the heckling fan, who was celebrating and pointing at other fans from after his ejection, which I thought was pretty funny. I don't understand. Is there any report of what the fan said to Blake Griffin?
I have no idea.
I really am curious because it had to be something pretty raunchy.
But does it really matter? Like at the end of the day, the fans.
Oh no, absolutely. You gotta be he said, Blake Griffin said
these
to a fan,
players can't like take criticism. Like they can't just let it go anymore.
I know they hear a lot of stuff, but I think it's like you got to know you're in a professional league. You are
People
a celebrity.
are gonna talk trash to you. Like
they are gonna say things like your mom is so fat. They're
gonna say way worse stuff than that. But regardless,
well, like I'm saying in the most
they're gonna
PG
say
way possible.
They're gonna say racist stuff. They're gonna say
offensive, very
offensive. They're gonna talk about your family. They're gonna talk about everything that you hold dear to you. And is it cool? No. Is it okay? Absolutely not. But at the same time, you're a public figure.
And these fans are drinking alcohol. Very big factor in this, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that matters, but...
Well, for the fan heckling, that's probably one of the reasons he's heckling is because he's been drinking.
Maybe. But, I mean, regardless, you have to...
You got to be a professional.
Yeah, exactly. Whether or not a person's been drinking or not, you can't fall into that trap.
Whether you like it or not, you are a public figure. You are
so here's the
a
thing.
role model to
children. At some
children.
point, either a player is going to fight a fan, unless they change something.
You mean Malice at the Palace?
Yeah, again.
Yeah. I can see... Isn't that scary that I can see that happening again?
So either that's going to happen, or the NBA is going to have to step in and remove that seating around this, and those are the most expensive seats right there. Yeah, make barriers, honestly, because
you don't see that happening a lot in the NFL because they're so far away from the players.
And I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest, I guess, positives and cool things about the NBA that separates themselves from the other sports is the ability to sit on the actual playing surface.
Some people sit next to the head coach, for crying out loud.
Like no other sport can you sit on the playing surface with your feet actually on the turf, the grass, the court, whatever.
I'm trying to think if that's true. Yeah, you're right.
But you can in basketball. You have that intimacy. In baseball, you can get close, like especially down the first baseline, but you're still... I don't know, 15
you're
yards
not on
from,
the playing field.
Yeah, you're still like 40 to 50 feet from first base, right? Like you're still... But when you sit courtside, I mean, you're literally... You can reach out and touch the player.
Maybe you don't get alcohol if you sit on the sideline. Maybe
that's not going to happen.
I'm just trying to think of easier ways to do this because a lot of these hecklers come from drinking alcohol. We got to admit that.
Absolutely.
And
at some point, the players have to just be responsible.
The players are a public figure, like I said before. You got to set an example for the younger kids out there. And like Kevin Durant is not setting a good example because he's not handling criticism well. LeBron James is probably the best at handling criticism because have you ever seen him go after a fan? I don't remember the last time he did.
He
handles it better than anybody.
Public officials get heckled all the time. Our president, our senators, our House of Representatives, they get in public. People go there and they say the craziest stuff to them.
They threaten their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And hardly ever do you see one of these public figures go back.
Well, they're obviously not built like NBA athletes, too.
And I'm not saying that we should all, I guess, take our responses from public officials, but I'm just saying,
if you're a public
figure,
figure,
in the public eye.
You're a celebrity, basically. If you're one of the main guys in the NBA, you are a celebrity. Mm-hmm. And if you get interactive with a fan and you throw a punch or something, you're done. It's over for you. Your reputation is what I mean.
So I think the NBA is going to have to do something because
there's so many times
this is happening on a nightly basis now,
and that's not good. And
we see guys like Russell Westbrook; they lose their head, and then they talk trash to a fan. It becomes a point where it's like,
and you don't. I hate when the players use the F word and stuff because there's kids around. That's my main issues because so many kids look up to these players, and they're saying these awful things. And they're not handling it well. Like Kevin Durant, I can't get enough of how much he can handle criticism and can handle hecklers because he is the worst of the worst.
Yeah, he's definitely not somebody who likes to be talked about, and he doesn't.
But shouldn't he have known that going to the Warriors?
He hasn't learned to just tune it out. He hasn't learned to just let it go.
Have you ever seen Michael Jordan go after someone? Because he probably tuned out plenty of it. Kobe Bryant tuned it out plenty, probably. Remember that commercial before he retired of all the fans? He's like, "Why are you hating on me?" And they all sing "We just respect you." Do you remember that commercial?
I don't.
You don't remember that commercial? I'll show you it during the break. But
speaking of which,
we should take a break. But first, I want to talk to you about Audible. And what about Audible am I speaking of? Well, wouldn't it be great if we all listen more? Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. Get your first audiobook free along with 2 selected Audible original titles and exclusive fitness programs when you start a 30-day trial. So take the time to listen on Audible. Just visit audible.com/GSMCbook or text the code GSMCbook to 500-500. Once again, if you use this code, you will get your first audiobook for free along with 2 selected Audible original titles and exclusive fitness programs that you can't get anywhere else. And this is all for a 30-day trial. Just use the code GSMCbook to 500-500 or go to audible.com/GSMCbook.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by
Welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We're talking about other news and corps about tips and tricks about the news today in sports. But one of the sports things that happened yesterday, right after our shows went off the air or stopped recording, was Nathan Peterman signed with the Raiders. I almost said Rams for a second. Raiders, and everyone lost their minds because they never expected someone to sign Nathan Interceptions Peterman again. After, well, arguably the worst career as for a quarterback ever.
Nathan Peterman.
On Wikipedia, his middle name was Interceptions. I'm not kidding.
He's only being signed, though, as a practice squad player, so I think we kind of need to pump the brakes a little bit. I know it's like everybody's freaking out.
He still got signed. That's what
Everybody's freaking out like, oh my God, somebody signed him. I mean,
okay, well, let me tell you, this is his career statistics as of 2018, as of right now. TD interception ratio is 3-12. He has a 52% completion percentage, 73 rush yards and 1 rushing touchdown, and no passing touchdowns. Or he has 3 passing touchdowns, excuse me. But that's got to be the worst ratio for touchdown interceptions for one season, like for less than a season of games.
Mm-hmm.
That's crossing a line there, and
he's not going to play though unless A, Derek Carr gets hurt, and B, AJ McCarron leaves because his wife is expecting to have a child here in the next week,
and that's why he's probably going to play a game or maybe half a quarter or something like that during this. But he also had workouts with the Detroit Lions and Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Which is...
Got some interest.
That's incredible to me. I expected no one to touch him until the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you think that?
Sorry, say that again?
Oh, well, did you expect... no one to touch Nathan Peterman with the 10-foot pole. Not
until
the offseason. I meant until the offseason.
I don't know. I don't think it matters, to be honest with you.
Okay. I just thought that would be a nice little thing.
I think something that's more important, though, is to the quarterback for Alabama. He had surgery to repair a high ankle sprain, which is weird, but he had surgery. He expects to be 100% for their playoff game against Oklahoma. Is that concerning to you? I find that weird that he had surgery on a high ankle sprain. I know that's an injury that's tough to deal with, but usually just 3-4 weeks of rest usually takes care of it.
Yeah, and it must be a pretty intense sprain, like maybe a lot of swelling, like unnatural swelling or something like that, because that sometimes happens in these scenarios. But
so we are now just a week and a half away from the game.
Now, the question I got to ask is, for him, is he still going to be a high-profile player once he's going to the draft, whenever he does go to the draft?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be?
Well, I'm saying, like, is he still a first-round selection, or is this going to be a serious question mark? A surgery on his ankle, like...
No, I don't think that matters at all.
No, you don't? I'm just curious what you thought, because I feel like that's a important...
Deshaun Watson had, at least one ACL surgery before he entered the NFL draft.
Well, he also did win the national title. That's what kind of put that over.
But Tua won the national title, too.
This is true. But this is like he won the national title and then entered the draft. He didn't wait.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tua can't go to the draft this year.
That's what I meant. He still has some time. Mm-hmm. But again, and the Alabama quarterback, they've had some quarterback rotations a lot the last couple of years too. And not just because they go to the draft. Like, they're benching some quarterbacks at some points, one way or another. Just something to think about. And speaking of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, after his horrifying comments about putting ketchup on steak.
Yeah.
It makes me sick thinking about it.
That's absolutely gross.
And he puts on everything. The sick man that he is got a Heinz ketchup deal, correct?
Hunt's ketchup.
Oh, Hunt's ketchup. I thought it was Heinz. I apologize.
Which I found ironic that the name was Hunt.
How are they allowed? Why are they allowed to have such a name that close to Heinz?
I don't know.
I feel like that should be like gimmick or a copyright strike of some kind.
Why? It's two different names.
It's just too close for comfort for me personally. Anyways,
you can't have another ketchup brand.
It's not calling something like you have Netflix, we have Betflix.
That's not even close to the same.
How is that not close?
Heinz and Hunt's is the same as Netflix and Betflix?
It's the same base. There's only like one letter difference.
What? Are we serious
Hunt's
right now?
and Heinz?
HUNT_S or HEINZ?
It only it has the sounding of a letter difference.
I mean, yeah, they're sort of close, but copyright?
I don't know, but dudes, people have sued for way less.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying.
The Backpack Kid is suing Fortnite for the floss dance that he does.
I don't even know who the Backpack Kid is.
The Backpack Kid is.
I know who he is.
With on that Katy Perry video.
He actually was He was part of a dance halftime show. I forget for what basketball
I actually
team.
saw him at a Sacramento Kings game. I was standing right next to him. I said, "Hey, you're the Backpack Kid." And he said, "Yep," and then he performed.
Did he hear? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome night.
He was like, "Get away from me."
You know what it was? It was viral night, and they invited all these.
Shut up!
It was awesome.
That's such a.
Have you ever seen the pig? The pig that travels the world? It's an Instagram famous pig. He has hell of followers.
I've heard of him. Yeah,
he was there in a.
They must have. How much did they pay to get him there?
I don't know how
I'm
much.
assuming they paid them to appear.
But the pig was in a stroller.
That's
pig
adorable.
was in a stroller, and we were like, "Can we pet it?" And the owners are like, "No," and we're like, "Okay." And
it's just like, they probably are kind of worried.
Is on, like, it's famous because the owners take pictures of it, like on airplanes, like in cool locations. It's like the
I think maybe petting a pig is weirder than petting a dog, though. I kind of maybe, and it's like maybe they had some weird experiences with people petting them. I'm thinking of random examples, but yeah, that's well, if did he trademark the dance before they used it in Fortnite?
I don't know.
That's the biggest question in this whole thing. But whatever.
There's like other people suing Fortnite.
There's a lot of people suing Fortnite.
There's the rapper. What's the dance?
Carlton is even suing them.
Carlton is suing as well. Yes, they're all figuring it out.
And Fortnite, fortunately, has made enough money they probably can pay off a lot of these guys, but they are losing. They're getting less and less popular as the months go on because so many other companies are using Battle Royale in their games. So they're going to be almost done for by next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, if there's so many copycats that are playing in big time games, who knows what's going to happen. But next thing you know, Durant's going to sue them for no reason. I don't know. I tried to think of an insult and I couldn't think of anything. Mm-hmm. But what else is there? We had a lot of the other things to talk about.
Well, we need to go to break.
Well, one more thing and then we'll go to break.
Oh, one more thing?
Yeah.
All right. Manny Machado's brother-in-law is Yonder Alonso.
Is that just
He's
announced?
on the White Sox. And he visited the White Sox. I don't know. Does that give the White Sox a slightly better chance in signing this guy? Manny Machado?
Does he like his brother-in-law, though?
That has yet to be confirmed.
Yeah, we don't even know if he likes him or not.
That is also... I also would like to know if Machado is married to Yonder's sister or if Yonder is married to Machado's sister, because that could make a huge difference. Because I'll tell you right now, if somebody was married to my sister, I don't know if I'd want to play on the same team as them. My sister, by the way, has a new boyfriend. Hold up. My sister has a new boyfriend, so she dated this guy, a good friend of mine, for 8 years. She has a new boyfriend, and I'm.
She dated a guy for 8 years and broke up with him, and then dating somebody else now.
Yeah, she.
When did she start dating after the breakup? How long the period?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're like officially together, but I'm supposed to meet him on New Year's.
They're together, because you're meeting family members.
They broke up like 5-6 months ago.
Okay.
They were together for a long time, but I mean, you know, things happen in a
five, 6, like if it was like 2 weeks later, she has a new boyfriend. I'm like, oh, that's not cool. But 5-6 months seems like a reasonable time.
Mm-hmm. But anyways,
I feel like there's rules after a long-term
My point that I was
relationship.
getting at, though, is that I haven't, as an older brother, experienced my sister dating another guy in a long time, and I'm starting to feel little feelings. You know, feelings I didn't know that I still had. Because when I was younger and I was, you know, an older brother, somebody to a sister who's 3 years younger than me, I was always a little bit wary of a new boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
You can understand
Sure.
this. So I'm saying if Yonder Alonso is Manny Machado's brother-in-law because Yonder is married to Machado's sister and not that Machado is married to Yonder's sister, there's a difference, if you know what I mean.
There is a huge difference.
You don't have a younger sister, huh?
I have 2 older brothers.
Yes. So you will never experience
I
what
have
it's
2
like
sister-in-laws
to be a
who I love.
protective older brother. You'll never.
Oh, I have a younger cousin who is like my little sister that I super am overprotective. I actually have 2. One's a little older than like a month older than me, but she's still like my little sister. But I totally have that big brother feel when it comes to my cousins.
Really?
Yeah.
So like, do
because
they have significant others?
They did at one point, and I had to meet them, and I was in super judgmental mode. This was the first time me meeting them, so I had to be like, okay, got to test this guy out, and then and then I told her like I say I like him or I don't, and it's like whatever, but I'm like. Yeah, and then the breakup was pretty bad, and then I was like, "Do you want me to go talk to him?" And she's like, "Please don't," because she knew what I was going to end up doing. But anyways,
what were you going to do, Jeff?
I don't think I can say.
What were you going to do? Because I don't think you would have
probably end up threatening him with a baseball bat.
Yeah. I don't think you're that kind of guy.
I'm not that kind of guy, but when you hurt someone that I love dearly, then I'm going to hurt you.
It was with words.
Well, I'm going to threaten you. I'm going to say some pretty mean things with a metal baseball bat in my hand.
All right. Let's take a break.
All right. When we get back, we'll talk about the rest of the news systems.
Talk sports or something.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Wait, yeah. What are sports? Right after this.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome to the final segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast. We have some pretty funny. Would it be funny? I'm not sure. But Marshawn Lynch was going into the
Oakland City Council.
Yes, talk about getting the A's a new stadium because everyone's like, we're losing Warriors, we're losing the Raiders, we can't lose the A's. And how he dressed was not really appropriate for a city council meeting. Would you say?
I don't know, man. He's not a politician.
Yeah, but you got to at least dress
He's
like
a member of the public.
Yeah, but I don't know. Tell me what he dressed as.
You know what? What's your Twitter handle, Jeff?
Mine's at Jeff Malinoff.
You should hit up Jeff if you think that he sounds like an old man when he talks about somebody's attire at the city council meeting who's not part of the city council.
I'm not saying like he's gonna wear a suit and tie. I'm just saying
when you're talking right now, I see Clint Eastwood and
I'll take that
Gran
as a
Torino.
compliment.
Gran Torino. Get off
You mean
my
the most
lawn.
badass guy on the planet? Yeah, okay.
Hey, you can take it however you want. I'm just saying that's what I see. Like,
Okay. Well, tell me what he was dressing as.
He was dressed as a dude who plays football and isn't playing football on that given day.
Well, okay, just tell me what he was wearing. Damn it.
He was wearing flip-flops and a hoodie.
Flip-flop. Okay.
And a backpack.
Okay.
He was walking around Oakland.
Okay, sure, but like flip-flops in a council meeting, I feel like there should be a little bit of a dress code. Just a little bit of one.
All right. What else do you think about today's youth?
I think that you are overthinking this entirely.
No, man. I think this is fun.
Yeah, but the thing is, will they take him seriously with a hoodie and flip-flops?
It's Marshawn Lynch, man.
Do you think some of them even know who he is?
Do you think that they would take Marshawn Lynch seriously if he showed up in a suit?
Yes, but do you think any of them actually watch football?
Probably a couple of them.
I don't think so.
Football is king in this country. A lot of people watch football.
Yeah, but some city council guys are like in their 90s for crying out loud. So
I don't know if they're that old, but I see what you're saying.
Like some are like, why? What are those? What's he winning a backpack for? Yeah,
I mean, people
Lynch,
knew.
too.
I guarantee you, people knew who he was when he was in there, and I mean like the actual people involved in politics.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Plus, he's like a figure. He's a public figure. Like people in Oakland, even especially politicians, mayors, governors, they're gonna know who is Marshawn Lynch. Like he is a public figure. He's also done a lot of good for their community. Mm-hmm. So like he puts on football camps. He does a lot of stuff for the youth, which is actually really cool. I don't know if you looked into it. I don't really even know what his organization's called, but he is a man who's always given back, even when he was playing for Seattle, which is cool. So he is a public figure. I mean, people know him, you know.
Yeah. But again, you gotta... I know he's dressing like Marshawn Lynch dresses, I guess. So...
Do you think people who are listening to our show think that we're wearing suits? Or do you think
we have to wear business casual to work?
But we're getting pretty... It's like pretty... it's pretty casual. It's
I'm wearing
more casual
I'm wearing
than
khakis.
Yeah. I mean, it's more casual than business, right?
Well, our boss, who we...
Business casual usually means a button-up shirt with...
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing a sweater. It's cold in here.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we wear sneakers every day.
I'm not
You
wearing...
wear Nikes every day.
These
except
aren't
for today.
Nikes.
Except for today.
I wore Nikes twice.
Whatever? You wore Nikes twice this week.
That's what I meant.
So, it's casual.
Yeah. Well, khakis and a collared shirt I usually
Have you ever
wear.
worked for a company that was actually business casual? You would never be able to wear sneakers, ever. Like, you'd be sent home.
Probably. But
you for sure would.
But
you'd have to wear boots.
this is kind of a
dress
different
shoes.
studio than people are used to, I guess you can say.
I know, but I mean, what I was saying is it's pretty casual with a hint of business, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just don't wear shorts.
Yeah.
Anyways, Keenan Allen's expected to play for the Chargers. There's a lot of speculation. Yeah, but there's a report that came out this morning that they fully expect him to go against the Ravens. That's a big game, man. Chargers-Ravens might be the best game this weekend.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely... There's a lot riding on it, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. When we do our breakdown for Week 16,
that's
I
tomorrow,
know that'll be a game that we really key in on.
Yeah.
The Rams signed C.J. Anderson and cut Pharaoh Cooper, which maybe doesn't sound like a big deal, but they cut a Pro Bowl special teams player to add a running back, which really signals to me that Todd Gurley might not play because they only have a couple really young running backs behind Gurley. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense for them to add a veteran, even if he's not necessarily good at this point.
There also is, like, you already have your division title, and I know you're still going for a first-round bye, but sometimes you don't want to overplay your best player, and then what's going to happen? What if he gets injured during a pointless Week 17 matchup, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I see it, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there is stuff to worry about.
We'll see. Anyways, I think we need to go.
All right, yep. I think that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us, and tune us in on tomorrow for when we break down the games in Week 16. I can't believe it's already Week 16, man. Things happen so fast. All right, we'll see you right after this. We'll see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.